Congratulations on making it through X2. Now we are on to a whole new phase. See, you're going to see very quickly in Athlete Extreme that these phases will change quickly. What I want to do though is put you to the test. As you know, at the end of every phase you're going to have a challenge that you're going to have to undergo. Depending upon how you do on that challenge, let's say last week the King Tut challenge, if you didn't do as well as you should have, the only idea here is we're looking to make you better. So even if you didn't do as well as you should have, the only penalty is to go back and repeat that week, because it's going to expose that you have a certain weakness there. Your body can't handle that constant tension. So train that way for a little while. Repeat that week. Do it again until you do well on that final exam in that week, and move on to the next weeks of training. Okay, so that's the idea here, guys. There's no such thing as a quote penalty. You know, we want to make sure that you're always increasing your ability to perform, whether that be out on the field or just being an average Joe looking to get better and bigger, and this is what we're about. So with that said, leads right into the next point of, are bands necessary? Can bands allow you to get bigger? And we have our Athlete ARCS training phase to support that answer. And I think you probably know by now, my answer to this is absolutely. And why? Because everyone that tells you that bands are not, you know, that all you need is iron, good old-fashioned iron exercises, you know, like training like you're the Russian block, you know, doing all that stuff, it's the only way to get bigger. That flies in the face directly with what science will tell you, that you need to respect this idea of strength curves. So now strength curves are basically where in the point of an exercise rep you feel tension. So let me demonstrate a real easy to sort of grab onto concept here with a bicep curl. If I'm lifting weights using a bar, straight bar, as I start lifting the bar from the bottom position, I don't really have that much tension there because I could pretty much hold it without much effort. But as I get to the top, as I start to pull the weight up, it goes up and up and up, and then around the middle, that's the hardest part of that exercise. But then as I start to bring it all the way up to the top again, I could probably hold that bar up here for 2 minutes if I had to, because the tension starts to drop. All right, so that would be the strength curve if you're using dumbbells, and that's great. This is or a barbell. It's a very important strength curve. But that's not all you have to do. If you want to get a complete workout, what you want to do is say, well, what happens when we use bands? And when we use bands, the tension isn't much at all in the beginning because the band is pretty slack. So it pretty much mirrors that, but it starts to go up and up and up and up. The more you pull that band in, there's more and more tension, so that at the top, you actually have the most tension. So if you'll overlap these, you basically have an exercise that comes up and stays up where the dumbbell alone would have dropped off. So what we've done here in the Athlete ARCS training phase is we've basically applied the concept of strength curves to everything that we do. And we do it in what we say 3 ranges of motion. So there's sort of overlapping concepts here. These are the positions of contraction. We basically have in every contraction of a muscle 3 parts. Our mid-range, our contracted, and our stretch position. Okay? Stretch up here, contracted down here. If you look at it, what we mean is where is that peak tension occurring in an exercise? So if we look at, again, the biceps, one of the things that we know is that a mid-range movement, where is the most effort being utilized? It would be with a barbell curl. We're pretty much right in the middle of that movement. That's where the most tension is. It's going to be most likely that big compound exercise that you're familiar with. So squats for your legs, bench press, lat pull downs or pull ups for back. You know, that big main exercise that you're so familiar with. That's usually what your mid-range is. Your contracted position exercise, if you're looking at like a bicep again, it could be something along the lines of like a preacher curl or a concentration curl. In Athlete X, we don't do those kind of things. We like to keep you on your feet, so we have a fielder curl that does that. Again, by leaning forward, now when you bring the weight up, it's no longer mid-range. This is the end position of your contraction. So this would be a contracted position exercise. And then for stretch, if you go to an incline dumbbell curl, again, that bottom position here, this is where the most tension that you have to overcome in order to execute that rep. That would be a stretch position exercise. So how do we lay all this together so that you can do this week's workouts? Well, here's how we're going to do it. Let's take the chest, for example. We're going to have that compound exercise. You're going to do 3 sets of them to failure. Again, always using a weight that pushes you to failure in the rep range stated. So let's say we're going to have a bench press, okay? Bench press times 3 sets. You're going to do all those. Then you're going to come in, we're going to do this unique little superset combo here of a contracted position followed by a stretch position exercise. So a contracted position exercise would be, what we have is the tubing sunrise sunset. So you're going to come up here, again, all the tension's in the contracted position at the end here and at the end here. So let's just say sunrise, pardon the dirty writing here, but this is my scribble. So sunrise sunset, right, and that goes right in with the a dip. Because again, a dip, the bottom position of that is a good stretch on the chest. So we perform A, B, A, B, A, B without the rest in between. Now here's the great thing about this, the science behind that. What we get from doing the contracted position is an occlusive effect. Basically, we're getting the blood into that muscle, squeezing it out like a sponge. As you continue to contract that muscle, you're basically acting like a sponge and getting the blood, wringing the blood out of the muscle. What research and science shows that when you immediately follow that up with a stretching exercise, you not only have an increase in strength in that second exercise of the two, which would be the dips, but you also, at a cellular level, increase its ability to grow. So you're adding anabolic stimulus to your workout each and every time you do this A-B combo. So it's a really important concept, but not only because of those reasons, but because it fits right in with the fact that we're going to hit each muscle group in its mid-range, its contracted, and its stretch position all in one workout, okay? So you do these for 3 sets, and then you finally work your last area here. Very unique stuff here in Athlete Extreme. We're now going to combine a band and dumbbells into one exercise so that we get that overlapping strength curve that we talked about in the beginning. And in that we do all this. In this case will be a band resisted push-up. So we're going to put the band across our back. As you push up, again, at the very top of a push-up, you could probably stay here forever. But now when you have a band across your back, you can't. So you basically overlap those strength curves once again. So this whole phase, yes, it's scientific. If you don't want to think too much about the science, you just want to get a hard workout, then just do the workout. But the essence here is that we're thinking for you. We're doing all the work. We're putting the science back in strength, and it clearly comes through here in X3, Athlete RX training. Very hard training phase. Guys, you have a hard challenge waiting for you at the end of the week. Again, if for some reason you don't do as well as you should, it just shows that there may be some weaknesses here that you have to work on, and we're going to continue to do that and have you do that. All right? Keep up the good work, guys. We have another week of Athlete X training, which brings with it new changes, new phases, all new exciting things.